All right, I'm back. Welcome, hello. Well, no, I'm back. More like we're back. Gah. It's game number 2 if you're just joining us here for the MSI Beta 2014 Global Korean Qualifiers. Leading this series off of a very... I gotta tell you, the definition of anticlimactic for that first game. That was disappointing, I'd say, from both Gumiho's point of view and I think the fan's standpoint. But perhaps he'll bring it back in this one. Spotted bottom left corner of the map, it is going to be Startail's Life, leading the series 1-0.
Nipper left as the blue Terran. It's Gumiho.
Okay, so once again, guys, I want to go over this very, very starkly. When you play mech, the weakest part of mech is the early game. It eventually gets to that point where it's unbreakable, untouchable in the late game. But the early stages of mech are just garbage. Like garbage when it comes to production. And if you lose 2 tanks the way he did early on, it's absolutely not shocking that he tapped out at the point he did. Because for Gumiho, like, yeah, maybe cleans up the mutas, but then dies to the roach follow-up. It's not a fun game to play.
Yeah. It just seemed like it was an incredibly greedy game to play too, right? So we took that third really fast. Didn't bother scanning the main to see what was going on. So, maybe some things could have changed.
Yeah, there's definitely some scouting mishaps. I mean, let's not forget too about like the 8 or 9 lings that snuck past like that one Reaper early. Like, come on!
Yeah. Yeah, but then he returned fire with the Hellions, and then they returned they were
Actually,
kind of evening on the SCVs and drones.
That is a great point. It's kind of funny because they both traded the definition of like exactly efficiently with each of their attacks. You know, the small amount of lings for a small amount of SCVs, and the 2 Hellions for like 6 workers or whatever it was. But Gumiho this time, I mean, the thing is you could still play mech, and I would actually argue Deadwing's a fantastic map for mech. But there's, again, just that early game struggle.
My mic my headset disconnected, so I'm gonna assume I know what you talked about.
Okay, I'm just talking about the struggle of mech early on.
Yeah, I kind of.
It's very real.
I got that. Okay, so 1 Reaper usually followed up with the reactor. Yeah, that's what everyone's doing nowadays. If they jump up a bridge, would you do it too? Apparently.
You know what, I've always had a problem with that statement, because the idea is to like not do it peer pressure is, right? It's like, wouldn't you have to do the opposite? Like right now, all of your friends are not jumping off of bridges. So going off the same logic of that statement, wouldn't you then have to jump off a bridge?
No one's pressuring you not to jump off a bridge, though.
They kind of are. I mean, on a regular basis, it's the silent pressure.
No, it's not. Anyways. Whatever.
Sorry, I think about these. My life is like shower thoughts.
It's not the same. It's not the same though. It's just not.
Okay, he's not quite target firing down that one, the one circling that is a little bit low, but not the biggest deal in the world.
Should have gone for it. It was totally worth it. Nah, it's really not. This Reaper is purely for scouting. Yeah, purely for scouting. Just 2, 3 Reapers. Kind of just gone. Of course, the Marines are really great for denying scouting, making the Zerg paranoid.
I like that it's fallen out of favor, though, if I'm going to be quite honest. I never felt that 3 Reaper was that strong. There were those scenarios where like it would snowball, you kill all the lings, suddenly queens are dying, you win the game. But those were like the 1% of like all games. Like even less than that.
It should be the build that's in your back pocket, not the build that you always go for, right? So if you surprise them because you went for Marines every single game, suddenly there's 3 Reapers. Oh well, crap! I went for gases, and now I'm dealing with this for way longer than I would have liked to, up till 6 minutes. So we do have a starport. It looks to be just for a Viking.
Here's the thing though, like if he was gonna go for mech again, I'm not saying he is, but if he was, like this was a problem the last game too. Like he had opened double factory over getting the starport out sooner. Imagine for a moment instead of 2 tanks, he had 1 tank and a Banshee. Suddenly that Roach push is no longer the GG auto win. I mean, it still would have been a problem because of the mutas, but my point is, like, by going for double factory, you limit yourself in so many different ways. But,
yeah. You would think the opposite, too, because your production has started up much quicker than maybe usual, because, first you go to the starport, and then after a while you put on 2 factories, but instead you went for 1 factory more a lot sooner. But that actually worked out not to be the case. He didn't have enough production, enough tanks. But the Overlord is denied. 30C is on the way. The Overlord will die even though the Marines didn't kill it just because the bike is on the way out.
Yes, go for the cloaks. We're still going to get Banshees behind this, just the priority on the Viking. And the nice thing about this too is it will clear up a path for the Banshee. The idea, of course, is you want to cloak when you're above the mineral lines, not cloaking to get to the mineral lines.
Mm-hmm. And there won't be anything to stop it dead in its tracks, right? Life is going for early mutas again. He's going for roaches for sure, but that's when the banshees do help out. So there's no mutas to kill them. There's only queens, and you can definitely run around queens.
So just when we got a bit of downtime, someone asking in chat, what does the -6 mean next to the skull at the bottom of the screen? These are actually resources lost, guys, for those who are unfamiliar with the Game Heart overlay. So you can see a total of 100 minerals in the hole. The skull is obviously dead units, dead buildings, dead everything. And yeah, that's Game Heart in a nutshell. I love this overlay. Seriously, my favorite one to use. It's got some of the most information for the most minimalistic feel to it.
Yeah, Journey is facing DRG, one against Seed.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, ooh. Impact was so close to being DRG though for another rematch. Journey Impact. Oh well.
Well, the Viking actually doesn't get too many kills. After that first one got shot, he did pull the Overlords back. So, hunting around for kills, sees none. But this also opens up a path really nicely for the Banshee. Now, there is a Spore Crawler down, but even with that bonus range versus the Queen, or not the bonus range, rather the bonus detection range, it can still hold position and take on the Queen if necessary.
Yeah. Gumiho is going for mech again. He goes for the double armory again, which is pretty greedy. Does throw down 2 factories. Like, this is the build that we usually see, right? As opposed to the faster second factory that we saw last time. Life has not recognized this. Of course, the Vikings cleared up every overlord that would have scouted it. So he's going to get the Bailey Nest and the upgrades. Weird micro. No!
I mean, he prioritizes the gas mining drones, which is kind of cool, but Life not at all deterred by this, just puts them back on right away. There are some Zerg players, and I'm not going to go through the list because it's too many, where, you know, you lose the gas mining drones, and you don't actually think to put those back on until much later. Meanwhile, the roaches coming across the map are going to get cleaned up. Hellbats revealed through that early armory, and these stand no chance to deal any real damage.
No. They run into, like, fire. Not the greatest thing in the world. Third taken very, very fast for Gumiho. Life,
he is
though,
going mech, though.
Yeah, he's going mech. But Life, has he scouted? Well, I think with seeing the Hellbats, he knows that it's mech right now, right? And only one engineering bay, there's a bunch of different signs. So he's getting the Spire still, but he also goes down an infestation pit.
Right, so my curiosity is if he's going to go for early Swarm Hosts. Swarm Hosts are actually usually a pretty good way to deal with mech, but not early on. Because typically you'll have, like, what, 6? I think it's between 6 and 8 Swarm Hosts by the time you got that push coming with the Hellbats and the Thors. And the Hellbats will actually beat back the first wave of Locusts and the Thors. Oh boy, if you want to watch Swarm Hosts die, set a Thor on top of it. It's going to have a field day.
So that's exactly what happens, that all these Korean Terrans are going for these Thor Hellbat pushes, and they time them out, so if the person is going for Swarm Hosts first, they have a chance to go ahead and just overrun before the game can continue on. Life might just go for mutas first, though. Obviously not going to do a whole lot. There's going to be maybe 2 Thor, 4 Thors, maybe a couple Vikings.
The missile turrets in each mineral line should be able to cover this. It's only going to be an investment of, I'd say, 10 at most. But yeah, the Locust, the +1 range weapon upgrades, he's getting ready for that game. This could possibly be one of those long games, but Korean mech is a lot different than, say, North American mech, and I'm not referencing any one player individual here. But there is actually a pretty heavy dynamic where you'll get a lot more ground-based focus and a lot less air. I mean, it's been so long since I've actually seen a Korean go for, like, crazy ravens really fast.
Yeah, they might, you know, be more turtly than some other Koreans for sure, but as far as like going straight up to ravens, it's not really any Korean style. I can't think of one right now. Yeah. But Gumiho is just getting he's getting a 4th command center.
Actually,
I thought he was gonna get prepped to attack.
Yo, shout out to Innovation. I think it was like last year in ATC. He tried to play mech versus somebody. It was like the worst game ever.
I think I cast that with you. Yeah. I remember. I was just so embarrassed for him.
You're like, oh, this is Innovation. He's like, you know, the Kingpin Terran right now. He's supposed to like the worst mech game you've ever seen.
I think he swapped back to Bio, and you're like, just stick with what you're good at, man. Just like, you're pretty, so don't try and talk.
Yeah, pretty much. Hi, by the way, you know, better than Swarm Hosts, Vipers play really well in this matchup. Because Thors are very expensive, clunky units, but they can be abducted. So it's really annoying having your tanks, your Thors, and your Hellbats kind of offset in positions you're not ready to fight in.
Yeah. If Gumiho is going to go for the attack before he's maxed out, it's really important that he gets these Vikings to supplement the Thors, because only Thors, you can get a good, like, not even that high of a muta count and, you know, magic box pretty effectively. So you need these Vikings to help out.
Yeah, I didn't realize just how high the Viking count was. So I'm starting to produce them. I thought it was still going to be like 2 or 3, but here's the thing about Thors. I'm just going to touch base on this because, you know, I'm oftentimes suggesting amazing balance change suggestions. Like, if Ultralisk can't be, like, you know, they got the Frenzy buff and stuff, like, and they can't be abducted anymore, why are Thors not similar? They're so big. Give them, like, a waste too much buff or something. Vipers are strong, but not that strong. Come on.
It's too heavy. It's fat. So when Gumiho cleared up those Amitas, I was like, oh, do you still have your Banshee? He's like, go try and kill a Swarm Host. And that's exactly what he tried to do, but Life was a little too much on top of things, pulls the Swarm Host back. Spore Crawlers were a cool idea.
He's cancel. I like what he's doing behind this more so, where he's just taking a lot of bases. I feel so oftentimes Zerg players really neglect this, but it sounds, as silly as it sounds to say, if you're playing against a mech player and you've got a formidable defense, just take as many bases and spread as much creep as possible. If you want to shut a mech player down, just creep choke them into 4 bases. They will eventually die to attrition. It'll be a long, a stupid, and a boring game, but you will win that as a Zerg player 9 times out of 10. We see so many losses go down to creep spread, I'd say more than actual engagements, army compositions, or value.
Yeah. So Gumiho's almost maxed out. Life has been maxed out for a while, supplementing with Vipers as well as upgrades. He's getting upgrades for everything too, so maybe thinking about a possible Ultra Division in the future. Well, if you get the melee upgrades, well, I guess you could say again for Bruthlings, but I don't know. Oh, it's gonna be Ultras. Okay. Alright. So, Ultras, they can be good against mech. It's all about, again, positioning. It's just so often we see Ultras not get good positioning and thus kind of throw games for certain things. Everyone knows we're kind of not fans, I guess, of Tier 3.
Well, okay, there's 2 cool things happening right now. First off, I really like the high staccato tracking coming out earlier than later. A lot of people forget that this does also benefit the Planetary Fortress, which will be huge for dealing with those locusts. And you will eventually see Planetary Fortresses kind of litter the map as far as like stopping points, but also the missile turrets for dealing with the mutas. But I'm loving the tank count. This is something that oftentimes does get neglected, and the problem is if you get tanks too late into Swarm Host, you are just going to bleed out because you'll never get that tank count to where you need it to be in time.
So I know we talked a good game about how, for the most part, Koreans are more aggressive, and I talked about how there are still turtle mech Terrans in Korea. Gumiho is doing exactly that. He's he's a bunch of command centers he's morphing in just for mules. Make sure to get 3/3 upgrades and a couple of starports. Yeah. Exactly. So going up to that perfect Raven composition. Off of 4 bases, you can probably get there. You will be running out by the time I guess you might be ready to attack though. You definitely want to try and get a 5th. But on this base, 4 bases is guaranteed. 5th base is a little hard to get as a mech player.
I feel really bad for Gumiho too. He's been trying so diligently with these Hellions to get those run-bys. And let's be honest guys, Blue Flame run-bys are some of the strongest, scariest things a Zerg player can deal with. That's why Life's invested in spine crawlers and such, but he's been shut down by the mutas and the lings at every turn. These tanks...
Oh my god, it's that Raven since Battlecruisers.
You know what? This actually might work out better for him on account of the fact that Blinding Clouds are going to shut him down so hardcore on the ground.
It looks to be a bit of a mix. Like maybe he'll add 2, 3, maybe even 4 Battlecruisers, but he is getting those Ravens.
Battlecruisers, okay, let's talk about this for a moment, because this does require some quote-unquote real talk. They get overvalued. They're incredibly strong against units like Mutalisks and Hydralisks if in low mounts, but the problem comes into the fact that Corruptors counter them so easily, and it's not difficult to just build a ton of Corruptors. Gumiho, by the way, throwing away a lot of SCVs right now, very much on purpose to make room for supply. I kind of wish that half of them didn't have minerals in their hands, though, when they gave them away.
Especially in this type of game, because there's a much higher chance of this going to a mined out situation than, bio versus Zerg. Well, Battlecruisers certainly aren't that great against Corruptors. If you mix them with everything that Gumiho has, it's really going to be a battle of does Life get a massive tech transition that catches Gumiho off guard, or does he get really great fungals?
Does get a snipe off on one of the Vipers, not too bad. Hellbat's transformed. We're going to try and focus in the hatchery. He did scout to make sure there wasn't a base down here in the bottom right, so he knows this isn't super out of hand yet.
Those are 3/3 Hellbats. I'm not going to say that very often.
Yeah, like armor upgrades really don't come into the matchup a whole lot. But this actually going to benefit his air. You know what? Actually, thinking about this, I think air was his goal all along because you really don't see armor upgrades come into effect unless it is for the air. So this is actually going to work out really nice. Like, yeah, there's going to be Corruptors, and yeah, there's going to be a certain amount of Mutalisks and whatnot, but quite frankly, with the high armor upgrades, even the Ravens are going to take too much guff.
I think turtling was Gumiho's plan all along.
Well, okay, yes, but I mean, the emphasis on the air, like not getting stuck on that ground Terran that we see so many Koreans do, but in fact making that sky transition.
Attack the, I don't know, I guess just trying to duck out away from the mutas, but if he had just attacked with the Hellions, he might have been able to get that hatchery.
Maybe.
They're not gonna get it now.
So Yamato Cannon on the way. Yamato Cannon is always funny to watch. Oh, it cancels the Behemoth reactor. Okay, that's a bit odd to see. Because I was gonna say Yamato Cannon is very interesting. It's very good for the Corruptors and the Vipers. One shots them, range infinite, sort of locked on. But it's actually not bad versus Ultras either. It doesn't one shot them the way they do the other units, but boy, does it take out like 90% of their health.
Yeah, the reason that it's odd to see the energy upgrade first just for battlecruisers is just it doesn't seem like a very timing.
It's not pertinent. Yeah.
It's not a timing focused transition, right? If you're going up to battlecruisers, you're taking you like a long ass time to do so.
Oh, gotta be careful here. Does abduct a Viking. Point Finster actually goes down to cover it, so stays alive. Nice. But he's losing a couple of mutas for this.
And not really worth it, honestly.
Oh, we always talk about this, though. People don't know these are here. There's collapsible towers on these bases only for this map, and actually close to the rock tower.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the tank spread fantastically still beating back these locust waves.
I think Gumiho is going to want to expand like towards the opponent, right? As any good mech player will.
This is like a part of me for saying this in advance, but like fuck off Mutalisks. Like that's what these turrets are.
There's so much money each. Life has not had to really make a lot of units, just meaning like all the upgrades that he can and all the tech building, the second Spire too. Just get all the things, but you know, you're fine on units for a long time, you know, going swarm modes.
Ooh, Thor's get a pretty nice volley there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of Corruptors coming out now. These are going to be necessary to deal with the Vikings, if you get a lot of them. The Battlecruisers, I don't actually know if they've been revealed at this point.
Maybe some of Locust saw it. Because they were rallied originally to the tanks. Maybe not.
Where's the fusion core at? Maybe that was scouted.
The natural and the back.
No, he's not seen that either. Okay, so he doesn't know, but these will be working out great. So here's sort of a big problem for the matchup comes in. We see so many times the point defense, or sorry, not the point defense, the seeker missiles get cast on top of the Corruptors, on top of the Mutalisks, right? But the really, really good Zerg players will, instead of running away, run into the flock of Terran, into the Ravens of Vikings that are clumped up. Use the seeker missiles against Terran.
Yeah, that's always awesome to see. So Life did break down those back rocks, which is pretty good. Hellions running into Ultras, probably didn't expect that. But
dude, these battlecruisers are going to be so influential on this match. Like, I can't even begin to describe. There's enough of them at the point where they can Yamato Cannon about half of the Corruptors, so immediately removes half of Life's anti-air.
Can't wait to see how this happens. So we're totally used to seeing mass Ravens and mass Vikings. Like that's no big deal. Battlecruisers we see a couple of times.
Lily Canine's like the only guy who does battlecruisers.
Right, exactly, because it has so much Blue Canine is the only reason we see so much.
All right, so he transferred immediately.
Like, nope.
Yeah,
nope, I don't even know where you try and pull. It
Point Defense saves the Raven for now. Point Defense are always going to be better than Seeker missiles in this low count of Corruptors. Yamato Cannon's going off. Pew 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 pew. Big explosions, big damage. The battlecruisers with level 3 armor are just taking no damage from these Corruptors. Another Yamato Cannon is going to go off. One Corruptor remains.
Oh
you go home. You tell your friends what you saw here today.
30 Corruptors are on the way.
I kind of think this is good for Gumiho, though, because 30 Corruptors, big whoop. What's going to happen? They'll kill the battlecruisers. Meanwhile, the tanks, this is the time to try and push through this ground force, this sort of weird siege of buildings down here.
I wonder, though. I really wonder. The Swarm Hosts are going to always live, and they are good at buying time. So as long as he does take down the air army, I think Life is perfectly fine if the ground army survives for now, because he still has a big bank. So he'll just transition into something, you know, better against the ground army.
They both have a pretty sizable bank, but Gumiho's actually starting to deal some damage.
A Zerg player always is going to be favored in this position because
of the Remax potential, yeah.
Larva.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling pretty good. The Ravens aren't, you know, they're not full on energy, and honestly, there weren't that scary super amounts. And
this
so
is
many
scary though.
Corruptors.
Secret missiles are going down. He's going to run them into the army, as I said. Oh, nice control here. The battlecruisers still taking very low damage. The Thor, well, it's trying to help, but Thor shooting Corruptors are embarrassing. No Yamato Cannons coming up, though. A little bit shocked to see this. So this army goes down. There's no missile turrets to cover. Gumiho loses a lot on the air. Takes out most of the Corruptors, though, for his trouble. Worth noting.
So he has a lot of options to go into, right? I mean, he could have pretty much swamped the tanks with Lings, really.
20
or Ultras, but instead he goes to the Mutas, exactly.
There's still a Thor standing. There's still enough battlecruisers that live through this fight. I just want to give a shout out to those SCVs that did die repairing the battlecruisers underneath that.
You're the real MVPs.
You the real MVPs. Meanwhile, Banshee's still dealing a ton of damage on the other side of the map. With level 3 upgrades, they just hit like trucks against anything. So, gets one of the gas kills, kills the Queen, and several drones here at the Natural. I mean, Gumiho's not been taking this very lightly. He's been dealing a ton of damage behind this. Now we got missile turrets coming down. This is the type of advance I like to see. Because whether it's Mutalisks or Corruptors, these missile turrets are going to be the safe area to fight on top of.
Slowest advance ever. Well, it's all about life using these mutas, not as a straight up engagement, but as just running around the bases. And with as many mutas as he has, they're going to have really pretty good upgrades.
Mutas are a joke shooting battlecruisers.
Especially when they're one at a time. Not sure what that was about.
Yeah, let's look at Yamato Cannon. I don't like that he's not using Yamato Cannons. That's one thing to criticize about Gumiho I would love to see more of. There we go.
That was
guaranteed shots, guaranteed kill.
Lopsided by life right there. Like half his army was fighting at a time. It just that was an odd use of the mutas that you got. He is remaxing again with those corruptors. The upgrades were again never very good, right? So Gumiho's had 3-3 for the longest time. Life not really so fast, and the upgrades for his air is only going to finish 3-2 soon.
Okay, Locusts do actually get underneath this to pick up a couple things. For Gumiho, it's kind of scary. There's a very delicate balance at this point where if you go pure Sky Terran, you can risk losing the game to massive corruptors. They're pretty cheap, they're pretty efficient to use, and they build really fast, but it's balancing out the ground units. You're still going to have to worry about the swarmers. You're still going to have to keep this tank count high. You can't just let all your tanks die. There we go, there's the amount of cannons I've been bitching and whining about. Good shots go off, free kills.
I'm not sure why Gumiho is so low on mules, right?
Oh, these locusts! They catch the things on siege, advancing forward.
Doesn't kill too many.
Battlecruisers attack too quick, yeah. Oh, but the reinforcement line getting cut here by the Corruptors. Mutalisks actually have nothing to stop them but a couple of Vikings to spawn.
Okay, so
nothing.
Now we're looking at it, right? I was wondering why Gumiho just doesn't have a bank, and he has. I thought he maybe mined out his main and his third, which happens a lot. He just doesn't have a lot of mining, like, period. He's done at 27 SCVs. He overestimated the amount of mules.
Look at the mules!
Oh, there's all the mules. I was wondering. I was like, why don't you have any money?
His income's about to spike probably like 3K or something stupid here in a second. Oh my god.
I was so curious,
yeah,
right? So
3.5.
I wonder if this might have been like, you know, he kind of forgot for a couple of seconds, but it also might have been on purpose. So. He's just not mining out his natural and his third. Because so often we see like that's the reason they start to die out money-wise, that, oh, everything's mined out back home, but in fact he's like almost purposely not mining them out in case the scenario goes to, well, he kills my fifth, that's where he was going to be targeting.
Okay, so ducks are going off, but even if you duck the battlecruiser, it does not exactly die quickly. I think one of the big things here is I like that he started making Thors again behind this. I guess there's a benefit if the Mutos come back into play, but they're not going to be good versus the Corruptors. The air army for Gumiho, so strong, so scary.
Back into Ravens as well. Life, you know, not exactly taking great trades. He's just lost heavily in favor of Gumiho, but Gumiho, he was running out of money until that mule hammer drop, but now his fifth base is much more mined out than, you know, 30 seconds ago.
Well, it's been a slow advance. We weren't kidding about this, guys, but it is one that Gumiho is slowly winning. And it's worth stressing, because he's had such a low SCV count, he's always had a massive army supply lead. And I kind of think that's going to be one of the single most influential reasons why he's able to take these engagements. I mean, Life must be thinking like, man, I just can't break this guy. Why? And it's because he's got the normally large army. And
it's, normally we're shouting to make fungals, because in most situations it's against Raven Viking that they're having trouble against. Against Battlecruiser, I mean, fungal might help out. This doesn't seem really worth it. So like one fungal goes down, two fungals might go down, but not the mass fungals. Like that, the chain fungals work out so much better against a Raven Viking army than a Battlecruiser army.
Yeah, I mean, it's 30 damage. It's so inconsequential, but the Battlecruisers might finally get broken. If they do, it's going to be just so very barely. Because, again, the Corruptors are just being made 12 at a time, 15 at a time, replacing losses. Life is finally out of gas.
What's also really funny is that usually I'd be criticizing how Life isn't pairing up with the Locust attacks, so the Thors attack that. But with the change, the Thors are attacking the Corruptors.
Yeah,
you know, we always talk about that buff in regards to versus Muta in a bio game, but it's helping out against, you know, this game too.
I think one of the things here too, and this is not really happening anymore, we consistently had repairs going down. So Gumiho was constantly coming to these fights with full health, full engagement. We got a small amount of SCVs underneath this. There we go, starting to repair once again. Battlecruisers are going to get focused either way. But those Yamato cannons have been so good. I wish we had like a counter for specifically how many units have died to Yamato cannon more than anything else. Catches the Ravens in the fungal though. Kills the SCVs possibly in the fungal. We got mass repairs going off underneath us. These Ravens have a lot of energy. But yeah, they are gonna live. Swarmos
will have to duck out.
Yeah, they're doing what they can.
They're keeping their distance, but they also don't want to completely leave too. Because well, now if they leave, the path to Life's major bases is open where all his tech is, and Life just doesn't really give that up.
This is such a big deal for Gumiho as well because, you know, he's sitting on possibly getting eliminated from the tournament depending on how this game goes. But with Life having no gas at this point, I'm feeling very confident for Gumiho to make this to game number 3. The battlecruiser lines have never truly been compromised. It's never been to the point where he's at 0. He's making more Vikings behind this as well. And the corruptor count, well, normally easily remaxed upon. Not
it does
the
go
case.
back to the fungals now, I feel, though, because the worst thing again is not the corruptors, but all the Vikings and Ravens that are helping them out.
You know what? Actually, I really like this Link counterattack. There's a planetary fortress down that'll help a bit, I guess. Actually, I didn't. He's got planetary and it's natural.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
He's good.
So Life is going to lose all of his mining bases. He did not expand further to the left, although he really probably should have taken that base at the 9 o'clock.
Blue Flame Hellions will clean this up. I actually, you know, I really like that Gumiho chose to push down the right side of the map rather than go for the tech, because cutting off that income is way more important.
Yeah.
Like, what good is having a spawning pool if you can't build any lings, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of all he can build right now. He's got more minerals than anything else.
This game has gone back to maybe like a lucky fungal changing the game. When it was mostly battlecruisers, like not a big deal. Well, the problem is that will you ever even get a fungal? Like that's.
Oh, Gumiho forgot about the bottom right. Maybe. What are these stores doing? Go there. Yeah.
There they go.
Yo, this base. When did he take this base? This is a ballsy as hell base to take.
Yeah, Life should have taken this a long time ago, I thought.
Yeah.
We'll get this base too, and with that pretty much ends Life's mining. He's mining from his 4th. That's it.
It's not even the minerals again. He's got a fairly hefty mineral bank, but it's the no gas. He's making ultras now, which I don't know that I love this choice for, especially against the tank count that's been available.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like watching fireworks just pop off, explosions everywhere. But Lings will actually kill these, so this will be good for Life. Actually, Hellbat, turn around, help, please.
They're upgraded Lings, but those are upgraded Thors too. So
yeah, again, those level 3 armor upgrades. I always forget because again, you're so used to seeing Lings swarm a Thor with no armor.
Roach speed but no adrenal glands. What's wrong with you?
Well, there's just about every upgrade in the game for both players. So at this point, I'd say it's Gumiho's game to lose. It's gonna take a big throw, and even if he does throw, he's still got so many CCs. He's still got so much production behind it. Both players are starved at this point. It's worth noting. So one good engagement for either side could change the course of the game. But look at this point defense turns going down like crazy. The Vikings are just shelling away. There's more Yamato cannons going off.
There's no way that Life takes a good engagement with just head on, right? If he could somehow bait the Viking and Raven like composition into fungals and get those chain fungals, that's great. Again, the fungals like don't do a whole lot to the battlecruisers, but he needs to get rid of everything else that's helping the battlecruisers first.
So I feel like this almost has like the Wings of Liberty argument to it, where it's like, you know, this looks so strong out of Gumiho. How do you possibly break this? And it's kind of one of those, don't let him get to this stage, like the way Game 1 went. You know, don't let him get to the point where it's so out of control like this.
Yeah.
Broodlord Infestor? Anybody?
Yeah, I'm just gonna get like fungals and then pulling the battlecruisers of the Vipers is the only way he takes like really great engagements. Anything else is subpar.
Well, I don't even know about the Vipers, but I think the fungals have been great because one of the big things the fungals would have done was kill the massive amount of it. I mean, they're no longer here, but this whole game there's been like 10 SCVs constantly auto-repairing everything in this army.
Oh, the SCVs. I guess that's an interesting point. Maybe. Oh, one final attack from Life into the bulldozer field. A couple of queens trying to elbow transfuses
The point
as
defense
well.
drones are too good, though. They nullify so much of the corruptor damage. GG finally called. Gumiho will take game number 2, even up the series 1-1. And wow, that was a long game. But yeah, I'll take the ace match for it, guys. We're gonna try and squeeze into